First, let me say that there's no doubt or no mystery that our great town of Johnston has been strapped for one of the largest landfills in New England. We're paying for sins of the past from previous elected officials. Quite frankly, the only one that benefited from the state's only landfill in Johnston were the politicians who owned land and sold it to the landfill, as well as those politicians who were able to get their friends and family jobs. And unfortunately, the taxpayers got the short end of the stick. Besides that, we all know the landfill's not going anywhere. So we have to go along to get along, as they say, and be good neighbors to one another, which goes both ways. Also, let me say that under the direction of Michael O'Connell, Executive Director, I can honestly say that he's done his best to be a good neighbor. The previous administration, before Michael, did not care about the citizens of our town. As a matter of fact, they would have told us, with the current situation, if you don't like the smell, hold your nose or hold your breath. And that's how that administration was. As we all know, they mismanaged $75 million of taxpayers' money. This is definitely not the case with this current administration at the landfill. However, there is has to be a dramatic shift in the quality of life for all Johnston residents. As you all know, the landfill, the odors have been getting worse and worse and worse. And it's been getting worse for not only Johnston, but our surrounding communities. The current odors are noxious in nature and have created a major nuisance. As you may know, we've experienced occasional odors in the past, but over recent months it appears to be relentless and seemingly out of control. Approximately 3.5 months ago, during mid-September or so, there was a noticeable difference in the quality of air in our town. There was a strong, pungent odor. As time went on, this odor became stronger and stronger and stronger. And it was more frequent, more frequent, more frequent. It started to what we thought peaked during the months of October and November. And October 14th, I contacted Michael O'Connell at Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation. He immediately came to the town hall to address my concerns and the town council's concerns. And I'm going to introduce the councilors here in a couple of minutes. He did say there was a mechanical issue going on, and he was working on a solution to explain that the wells filled up with water and gas was not being extricated from the landfill properly. As the days went on, the odors became increasingly stronger, more frequent, and the executive director of Resource Recovery set up a meeting with elected officials from Johnston and Cranston on Wednesday, November 2nd. At this meeting, Michael O'Connell explained, come on up, doctor, thank you. Michael O'Connell explained that they were doing everything possible to rectify the situation and thank you for coming, doctor, corrective measures they would be taking, and the measures would be completed by mid-December, approximately December 14th, which is not too far away. He also sent out a letter upon my request, council's request, as well as Mayor Alan Fung and a couple of his council members, to the citizens of Johnston and nearby Cranston, explaining what was being done to rectify the situation. The letter also included a 24-hour hotline for people to call and register their complaints and tell them where exactly the odors were coming from. Unfortunately, the situation wasn't improving. The odors were continuing to emanate on a regular basis. Rhode Island Resource Recovery was obviously continuing to work on the problem. They identified as being the source for the odor. They increased cover material, installed 38 additional gas wells, dewatering system for those wells that had filled up with water, hired an odor control subcontractor, and hired one of the top engineers throughout the country, and spending up until now $4.2 million. There was still no relief, no improvement. Since the onset of the odors on September 1st, I've been in daily contact with members of the Johnston Town Council regarding this problem, as well as our state senator and our state reps. We have been keeping a low profile because we wanted to give them the opportunity to fix the problem. We didn't want to go out there grandstanding, yelling and screaming, because quite frankly that gets nothing done. Our patients are warned. I also got Governor Chafee involved, and I want to commend him today. Governor Chafee has been on this with us for the past month or so. He met with us twice this week alone. And I want to say that the governor could have headed for the hills, as they say. He got involved. He came to our town twice. We met with him in the office yesterday. So I want to commend the governor. Governor Chafee attended a meeting recently, as this week on Tuesday, December 6th, along with myself, Councilman Pitticelli, and members of Resource Recovery, as well as members of Broadrock Energy. So once again, I want to thank Governor Chafee for his diligence in getting involved. We also had a meeting with Governor Chafee yesterday at 2 o'clock. It was myself, in attendance was myself, Vice President Manzi, Councilman Pitticelli, Senator Frank Lombardo, of course the Governor, my legal counsel, William Conley, the Director of the Department of Health, Dr. Michael Fine, and of course Dr. Bob Vanderslice, who's here today. And once again, Doctor, thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate that. Along with Terry Gray, Director of DEM. We were very concerned, and we addressed that. We obviously stated our concerns. As a registered nurse myself for over 27 years, I've been deeply concerned for the citizens of the town of Johnston's health issues as possible dangerous health problems with this foul odor has been producing. And I've also been concerned about the neighboring communities. Dr. Fine and Vanderslice assured me that there's been no uptick, if you will, in emergency room visits reported in respiratory cases involving odors from the landfill. I was somewhat relieved to hear that because as a registered nurse, I am very concerned about all of the residents of our town and well surrounding communities, which may have suffered any respiratory emergencies such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, emphysema, asthma, or chronic bronchitis. I'm relieved to say that the doctors from the Department of Health, one is here today, Dr. Vanderslice is here today, that the odor at this point in time, and I repeat at this point in time, is not creating a health issue for residents. I also received assurances from Terry Gray from DEM and Dr. Vanderslice from the Department of Health that the area quality monitors that have been in effect they are reading safe levels. However, I did request, along with Vice President Manzi and Councilman Pitticelli, we didn't kind of request, we kind of demanded, and as you know, we're frustrated, and the Governor agreed with us 150% that several monitors be placed strategically around our town, and they agreed to do so. I also requested that DEM issue an enforcement notice of violation to the Rhode Island Resource Recovery to force them to rectify the situation at once. They, along with the Governor, Chafee, also agreed to do so. That will be happening sometime next week. Let me say that on Tuesday, December 6th, at our meeting with Governor Chafee, Rhode Island Resource Recovery personnel, and Broadrock Renewable Energy, LLC, the company that is solely responsible for the extrication of the methane gas, that after several hours of discussion, I, along with Councilman Pitticelli, became increasingly frustrated with the answers, we did and did not receive from Broadrock Renewable Energy. They appeared, in my opinion, not to have any reasonable explanation for why and how this odor problem was going on and was continuing to go on and get worse. I had posed a question to SCS. It's the largest gas engineering firm in the country. And I asked, as a layperson, what is the problem? What does this due to? Is it due to gas? I repeat, gas not being captured? And they said yes, that was correct. There was a difference of opinion from Broadrock Renewable officials. I feel that I, the Governor, and Councilman Pitticelli and our town solicitors could not get any definitive answers to the questions that we were seeking. I even said a couple of times, if you don't want to answer me, at least answer the Governor. And their faces were basically expressionless. It became extremely frustrated. What was even more frustrating and totally unacceptable was when I pressed the officials from Broadrock Renewables on the question, how long will it be until this problem is resolved or corrected? Their response was, let's see where we are in 6 to 10 weeks from now. Totally, totally unacceptable. It's unacceptable on the part of myself, the town council, and most importantly, the citizens of this town. The Governor was very upset that he had heard the same answer. As I told Governor Chafee, and he wholeheartedly agreed, we simply cannot take it anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We have done our due diligence. We have been gentlemen and gentlewomen. We have held our cool. We're trying to get this resolved. We're trying to work with Resource Recovery along with Ridgewood Renewables. And, I'm sorry, Broadrock Renewables. I apologize. They used to be Ridgewood. They changed their name several times. But once again, the negative impact on our town and our community, our property values, are most important. And God forbid, I repeat, God forbid, if this is to continue, if there'll be any possible health effects for our residents.